Hello and welcome to Love Anything Art. Today I will show you how I made this really simple, fun pendant. Hey, welcome to my channel. Let's start by cutting out our shape, just using a piece of scratch paper. And I will begin making my shape. And then I will trace the exact same shape on the outside, just a little bit bigger than the previous shape inside. And then I will cut out the outer ring first. And then I will cut a small snip, and then I will cut out that inner part. And then I'm just going to take some tape and tape that little snip back together. And I'm done with that, and I will place these two aside for now. And I'm going to use some of this gray color, it's a silver. Just cut off a little piece. And then condition and flatten. That's about as thick as I have mine. And then once I have that thickness, I will fold it over. I do want it to be a little bit thicker than that. And then just give it a gentle roll. And that is ready to go. I'll take my inner shape that I had cut out and place that on the gray clay. Once you have that in place, you can just give it a gentle roll and it'll keep your paper stuck to your clay, so you can cut it out a little bit better. Then just use your finger to smooth out the edges. And again, I'm just going to take some scrap paper, place my cutout shape on there, and then I'm going to put a little bit of alcohol ink on there. This color is gunmetal. Just put a generous amount on top and then use a paintbrush to spread everything out into a nice even layer. And then I'm going to put another layer on there once the first one dries. And once that is all nice and dry, you can bake that in the oven. Bye! Okay, while that's baking, I'm going to take some of this pink rose, dusty rose color. Take off a chunk there and then just begin working it and conditioning it a little bit. It's kind of a softer clay, so I don't really have to do it too much. And then you just want to roll that into a tube shape. And I'm going to use my clay extruder that I don't really use very often because it's very difficult and hard to clean and really hard to get the clay to come out of it. So I haven't used this in quite some time. It's a really simple extruder. There are better ones on the market, and one day I will probably buy a better one because you can probably do a lot with it. I haven't really experimented too much. But it came with all of these discs that will extrude the clay into different shapes. So I'll just get the one that I need here. You just put that into the cap and then screw that on. And then place your rolled out clay inside. You will need it to be thin enough to go into the clay extruder. And then I will just press it inside there. And then place on the back, and then try my best to extrude it. I had to use quite a lot of force. Like I said, this is not the best clay extruder. I would not recommend it. After working a little bit, I got all of my clay out. Just cut it off, and I'll kind of show you inside a little bit. You'll see what I mean by it's difficult to clean. And it wastes quite a bit of clay. I scrape off as much as I can from the cap and then the inner tube pusher here. Quite a bit on there, and then behind that, and then all down the length of the inner tube. So I will take a little bit of time to clean that out. As far as the extruded clay, I'll just place that on a piece of scratch paper and set that aside. Now that my piece is baked, you'll see that it bubbled up in the oven. I actually never had that happen before when using alcohol inks. I've never used the gunmetal before, but this will actually kind of work to my advantage, and I think it will add quite a bit to the piece, so I'm kind of glad that it bubbled up. Just be aware of that. If you do put alcohol ink on yours, you might want to do that after you've baked it. I'll just take some 360 grit sandpaper and then just start lightly brushing it over the top and smoothing away some of those raised bubbles. You'll see here that it kind of took away and revealed some of that silver clay underneath, and I really like that. So back to the extruded clay. I'm going to cover about half of this piece, or a little bit less, with this clay. So just to begin, I will see how far out I want it to go. Make a little snip there. And now I know how long I need each of my little snake pieces to be. So I'll just cut off several of those. And then any little extra pieces set aside because I will use those. With each of those, I'm going to, as naturally as possible, twist and manipulate them. Kind of want them to be bunched up and scrunched up and kind of piled all together, but more in a natural way and not just twisting it and laying it on top of my piece. So I just started with these 3 strands, and then I'm just kind of playing with it to see how I want it to kind of look. And then I'll continue doing 2s and 3s and 4s until I have several little bunched up pieces of clay. And then I will begin placing those on my baked clay, and you'll see here what I mean, kind of naturally twisting and turning on top of each other there. And that's kind of where I want it to lay. And I'll need to make some smaller sections as I get closer to the corner. I won't need to use so much clay. So I'll just cut off some pieces and twist them together. once I have those all set on there, any of the excess that's hanging over the back, I'll just chop that away. And you don't want to press the pink clay into the gray clay. I just lightly kind of pressed all of the pink color together on top of the gray clay. And just kind of smoothed out where the two seams will meet. I do want this piece of pink clay to be able to pop off after I bake it. So I don't want it to stick to the gray clay. I just kind of want it to form and shape, because I will glue this on after I am done. But before baking, I do want to use some chalk pastels. I have this really old box that my mother sent me. Thank you, Mama. And it has so many beautiful colors in there. I would just recommend picking out a color that looks best with the pink clay, or whatever color you chose to use. And for me, I'm going to use a really neon, bright purple pink color here, like a fuchsia kind of a color. And then I will just dust that all over my pink clay. I think this adds some depth and character to the pink clay. Once I have that all nice and covered, it is ready to go. You'll see it kind of pops off there. That's what I want. I just want it to lay loosely on there and not to stick. I've rolled out some black clay, just about as thick as the gray clay, maybe slightly thinner. I do want to give it some texture, and this is the texture tool I will be using. So I'll just poke lots of little holes there along the top and side. And I didn't do anything in the center because that will be covered up with the gray clay. So it's just all around the rim. You'll see here. Just anything that's showing. And then I'll take that exterior shape that I had cut out earlier, put that on the black clay, and then cut that out. Then I'm just going to use the texturing tool to add some texturing around the outside rim of the piece, and then on the back of it too. Just a little light something something there, just to give it a little bit of character. Now that I have both of my pieces ready, I will get those on a piece of scrap paper and place those in the oven and bake those. All right, my pieces are baked and ready to go. I need to make a backing for the clay that will hold the necklace chain. So I've just taken some black clay, rolled it into a ball, rolled it out flat. Made it pretty thin, maybe a little bit thinner than the other black I had rolled out. Just taking a rectangular shape here. You can take a square, whatever you have. Just cutting out two shapes. And these are what I will be using to make the loops for the back of my piece so that my necklace can go through it. And I will be using this wooden dowel just to hold the pieces up and keep their shape. Just place both of those pieces of black clay on the back of the dowel, and then kind of situate them where you want them to be on the back of the black rolled out clay. To get it to stick, I'm going to use a little bit of Bacon Bond. Just need to situate those on the dowel, and then flip it over, put a little bit of Bacon Bond on there, just a little bit, and then just spread that over each of the little points. And connect that to the black clay. And to give it a little bit more character, just take that texturing tool, and this will help press the two pieces of clay together and give it some texture with no fingerprints. Make sure to do all sides of your little loops. Then you can just use your finger and smooth out any rough, uneven parts that might be poking up. And I'll place that in the oven. I'm going to take some 360 grit sandpaper again, and then give a light sanding on top of my pink clay, and this will bring forward some of that lighter pink by removing some of the chalk pastels. I think this gives further depth to the piece. So now you have light and dark spots of pink. For my gray piece, I am going to put resin just on the top and the side of the piece. And I have resined and it's been cured, it's ready to go. Don't worry about the back, that will not show. My black clay is done baking. Just need to gently remove that dowel, just wiggle it around a little bit, and then pull it out. And I thought it would be kind of cool to add some little character to the black clay. So I have this like turquoise blue color. I'm going to put it in all of the little divots that I made. Just put a generous amount on there. And then you can use a paintbrush to get it to go down into all the little cracks and grooves. And you'll want to be sure to do the sides also. And then flip it over and do the back side too, including the little loops you made. I did wipe off all the excess, and unfortunately it didn't stick into the back side because the little grooves were not deep enough. And I found this at the dollar store. It's some glitter glue. I thought it would be kind of cool to add it to the piece, just to give it a little bit of glitter in there. And it dries clear and flat, so I thought it would add a little something to the piece. Just put a coating of that on the front and the back. And also I'm putting it on my little squigglies, my little pink squigglies. I'm going to let that dry, and then I can start assembling my piece. I'm going to take a little bit of resin and put it on the back side of my pink clay. Then I can place that onto the gray clay and then cure it. You will need to cure it for quite some time since it's underneath. Light doesn't quite get to it, so you'll have to kind of place it on its side and hold it there for a while. Once that's done, you'll place a generous coating on the back of the gray clay, and then you'll place the gray clay against the black clay. Get it situated, and then again you will want to put that under your UV light, or you can place it outside and just kind of go into the house and do whatever it is you need to do and then go back and check on it. I added my necklace to the back and everything is complete and together, and it's a fun little retro, funky, neato looking pendant. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had fun kind of coming up with the idea and letting it morph and become what it has. But I really do hope you liked this video, and hit that subscribe button and hit the like button. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!